This is the Tom Bigby Tales, and I'm your host, Shannon Evans. I write about a small town in northeast Mississippi on the Tom Bigby River called Columbus. Sometimes I write about the rest of the state. This is part 4 in the series Heritage Academy, where some are more equal than others. The rumor mill is going nuts. Apparently, more than one teacher is using instruction time to comment on me. How really interesting. I've heard everything from I'm an atheist to a communist. Someone, an attorney in town, has stated I was allowed to resign. I was not. I was fired. But let's get that correct for the record, ladies. Lordy, everyone's wrapped around the axle about me, and the parents and the faculty are delivering personal attacks on me, and yet no one's disputing the facts that I've presented with a single counter argument indicating that I possibly had incorrect information, etc. Why? Because I can't. They know I'm correct. Instead, they attack the messenger and get mad because I'm not nice. The truth isn't nice. Have you ever looked up the etymology of the word nice? Nice literally means ignorant, foolish, and silly. Nice gets you folks like Sean Harrison as headmaster and the folks who enable continued bad behavior from leadership and even some established teachers. Clearly, Heritage has an issue when multiple parents and teachers are told by their children there are classroom teachers allowing students time to listen to or discuss a non-education related podcast episode when they should be having instructional time. Just add that to the laundry list of what parents are wasting their tuition on. But back to the facts. I brought up a bunch of facts based on publicly available information about the current administration's new and recent hires. Public record is readily available on much of the content on the current new hires at Heritage. The school even posted a teacher spotlight last night on one of the new hires for whom I question her teaching background. And it is clearly a weak PR move by the administration. The teacher in question has a bachelor's and a master's in applied physics, which is awesome. STEM degrees are great. She had a 1-year internship with the Air Force laboratories in her field and 1 year of employment in the same place. That's it. That's all her professional work experience that's listed. None of that equates to teaching experience or any pedagogical coursework in teaching. Instead, she, quote, often thought of teaching math or physics when Heritage Academy gave me this amazing opportunity to teach pre-calculus and calculus. I was and still am ecstatic. While I applaud her enthusiasm and hope she does a master's in the art of teaching at the W or Mississippi State or some other online program, and I hope she gets the support she needs from the school to be successful in the classroom. But she got a license from the MAIS in both secondary math as well as health and physical education. What additional coursework qualifications does she have for those endorsements in the PE and the health area that are suddenly on her license? A love for ultimate frisbee and scuba diving does not make you a health science or HPER qualified teacher. So how did she get her teaching certificate in additional areas outside her major? Perhaps she has a minor in those areas, or perhaps she was graced with those endorsements by the MAIS via a backdoor deal between the former principal and the former executive director of the MAIS. The fact that no one is disturbed about the lack of teaching experience that a school built on academic excellence has on faculty this year is appalling. So there are people who are livid and outraged by some rumored offense of mine as a teacher several years ago. However, it is curious they are not equally outraged or even more outraged by recent events by the two administrators now gone or one of the current administrators who announced on Facebook at her baby's gender reveal party that the father asked her to marry her. Now, personally, I don't care that this current administrator got things out of order in her personal life. But if the school has all these moral high standards and Christian ethos, shouldn't these same parents be outraged that she was not sent home instead of allegedly helping students throw a baby shower for her? The double standards at this school and the hypocrisy are astounding. Is that the Christian role model they want for their daughters who are being taught traditional conservative Christian values at home and in the school, per their advertising? This same school would prohibit a pregnant unmarried student from attending. Shouldn't they question an unmarried pregnant coach? She was unmarried when school started, and she's the girls' athletic director as the public facing example for their young female students. I find that also very interesting. Or what about their elementary PE teacher? I've already discussed his questionable past. He has a domestic violence arrest in West Point. You can see episode 2 for context. And allegedly, he was fired from New Hope for inappropriate conduct with underage female students. Did Heritage even ask New Hope if he was a good new hire, or were they so caught up in the fact that he had a short-lived pro football career that they never even bothered? Did they even bother to do a background check? He might be the nicest guy in the world. He may be a great educator, but the administration either did not do their homework or they did and decided that the rules did not apply to this new hire. In other words, a double standard rife with his hypocrisy. Where is the outrage about current staff hired by the current administrator, headmaster Sean Harrison, who are either not qualified for their position or have troubled pasts that are not a good fit for their high moral standard motto they keep on the walls and in the advertising literature of the school? Honestly, I'm not surprised. They have a former faculty member who was quite the bon vivant of the halls, who is still invited on campus to MC events, etc., who is a former convict. Yes, friends, your little darlings were and sometimes are in the company of a convicted fella for what passed for instructional time in his classroom. The faculty loved him for his irascible charm and laugh and say, quote, he was probably the worst teacher Heritage will ever have, but he makes us all laugh, end quote. And they all forget he was part of a major drug bust and did solid time for his transgression. The local bar even had t-shirts joking about freeing him. He's no longer teaching at the school. However, he left because he had a better job offer, not because the school decided they might finally embrace their something, something, something high moral standards. Clearly, that is just a phrase that sounded like it would sell on a t-shirt or on a motto. They really don't mean it. There are clearly a different set of rules for some at Heritage than others. It is a point to be proud of that your last year's entire graduating class was all accepted into a college or junior college. But it does not negate the problems at the school this year. There are some serious issues that need attention from parents and the board. Don't your children deserve better? Doesn't your motto mean something, or is it just window dressing? Parents are paying good money to Heritage because they want their children to get a better education than they could get, in their perception, in a city or county school. But the teachers being hired at Heritage under the current administration are not even qualified to teach in those same public schools that you feel aren't good enough for your students, or they would not be allowed to teach in those schools because of their personal past. Yet Heritage hired them and they are teaching your children. Why are you willing to settle on the mediocrity and incompetence that the current administration is allowing to teach your children, for whom you want and pay for the best educational opportunities possible? Based on the number of private messages, text messages, and emails I am getting from parents and former students, I now have enough content to write about the horrors of the current leadership for a long time. The overwhelming concern every single parent has who brings me information is, please keep this anonymous. If they know it is me, they will make my kid's life hell. How sad that a whistleblower fears for their child emotionally and physically if they expose the truth publicly about the school. The anguish in the parents' voices over their child's experiences at the school is heartbreaking. It is shameful. Parents should be able to approach the administration with their concerns about their child's experience at Heritage without fear of retaliation by administrators, coaches, faculty, or other children. If the school truly cares about high moral standards and academic excellence in a safe, loving Christian environment, perhaps they should have a complete independent evaluation conducted to assess if the school is truly accomplishing those things in any measure. In the next episode, I will share some of the stories from these parents I've been speaking with and some of the students that are incredibly disturbing, and start at the top with the head of schools, Sean Harrison, and spreads out like a necrotizing disease. Disturbing is an understatement. Until next time.